You know, at this point, it's an almost daily occurrence that the industry provides us with more and more reasons why we need consumer rights protections in video games. With the way that they're acting, it's honestly hard to believe that they're not intentionally trying to destroy their own industry. At this point, the industry is little more than an elaborate shell game designed to trick people out of their money. Producers genuinely seem to think that they are not only above the law and criticism, but that gamers owe them something rather than the other way around. Hello fellow travelers and welcome to the Hard Light Network. If you're watching this video and you somehow still haven't been convinced that there needs to be radical changes to games preservation, maybe today's story will help change your mind. At this point, most of us have probably heard the stories of the delisting and removal of titles from both the marketplace and people's libraries once online support for a video game ends. Some companies have tested the waters by simply removing titles without warning, or at the very least, giving you a couple months heads up before they remove a title permanently. However, how do you think the average gamer would respond if a company tried to compel you to erase your own games once support ends for a title? Well, in today's video, we're going to be covering that exact scenario. But before we get into it, guys, do me a solid and hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content that I've got coming up for you guys in the future, and also take to the comment section down below to vent your rage on this clear overreach of corporate policy. Also, if you want to support this channel further, there are super thanks and memberships options down below. Feel free to join the channel today for access to exclusive content and perks that you can't get anywhere else. But without any further ado, let's get into today's article. And our reading today comes to us from GameRant.com and is entitled, Ubisoft makes unpopular changes to EULA. Ubisoft has made official changes to its end-user license agreement, which adds concerning requirements for license holders. This news comes amid a slew of controversies for the publisher, including the conviction of 3 former executives who worked with the company. That said, this alteration seems more focused on changing the way that Ubisoft's customers interact with its library of games. While fans are excited about the potential of future Ubisoft remakes like Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, this latest change to the publisher's EULA could impact all future titles planned for release, given that this new agreement includes additional requirements for license holders. It's fair to say that this is a stricter document than any previous examples from Ubisoft. This not only coincides with a period in which many gamers are thinking twice about physical ownership, but also the growing popularity of the Stop Killing Games movement. The latest EULA released by Ubisoft apparently requires users to destroy or delete all copies of a game once it is taken offline. In point 8 of the agreement, the terms for termination of the EULA stipulate that the user, quote, must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in the user's possession. While it isn't explained exactly how such a legal document could be enforced, it's worth noting that it would be difficult for any company to ensure that a physical copy of a video game had been destroyed. This new requirement seems almost pernicious in nature, especially since it was Ubisoft's delisting of the classic title The Crew that inspired the Stop Killing Games movement. Stop Killing Games has over 1 million signatures and growing, indicating there is a strong desire for the industry to change its approach to game ownership. Although this EULA alteration did take place shortly after the movement started making headlines, there's no reason to believe that there is a connection between those two events. Even so, it doesn't look good when Ubisoft is one of the biggest companies delisting titles, and also the first to add such a strange requirement to its legal documents. This new EULA also states that Ubisoft or the licensors of the product can terminate the agreement at any time for any reason. While it's unlikely, this language is so open to interpretation that Ubisoft could legally argue it has the right to release a new game and immediately delist it moments later, revoking access to all users. Whether or not this decision from Ubisoft is pushback against the Stop Killing Games movement, it seems likely that the petition and its related effects have ruffled a few feathers. And you know what? I'll go out on a limb here and state what the author of this article won't outright. This is absolutely pushback for the Stop Killing Games initiative. At bare minimum, it's absolutely a response to the backlash they received for delisting The Crew, which was the impetus for Stop Killing Games. Decisions like this, from Ubisoft of all companies, are going to do nothing but expand the already existing boycott of their titles. People have been trashing this company since before the controversy with The Crew, and this is going to do nothing to improve their relationship with their customer base. At this point, it honestly feels like video game producers are just competing to see who can piss off their customers more. And honestly, where are all the shills that were defending these companies a few months ago at now? Months ago, when we started covering these delistings from these companies, there was never a shortage of people in the comments calling us alarmist and saying that we were freaking out over nothing. This proves beyond all reasonable doubt that these companies are intent on sinking the ship before they let it fall into enemy hands. It's just unfortunate that their enemies are us, regular everyday gamers. In all honesty, this story should be the wake-up call that anyone who is skeptical of Stop Killing Games should need to get on the right side of this thing. Every single title produced under this EULA is subject to termination without warning or reason. And the honest expectation is that you, the customer, should willingly destroy your copy of these games. This is honestly Brave New World level dystopian corporate overreach. To tell you the truth, people have joked for years about the Nintendo Ninja Assassin death squads, but honestly, at this point, after reading stuff like this, I wouldn't put it past them for a second if they thought they could get away with it. There is no possible way that this EULA would pass any amount of legal scrutiny in any country outside of China or North Korea. I know I sound heated about this, but to tell you the truth, guys, the audacity is absolutely psychotic. There is not a single title in my library, not one company that I am so loyal to that I would willingly destroy my own copies of my games for. And I honestly don't see how anyone could begin to justify this nonsense. Ubisoft has not been in a position to demand something this ridiculous for a very long time. If you could measure the lack of goodwill that this company has fostered with gamers over the past few years in inches, you could make it to the sun and back 10 times over. This sort of thing makes me okay with an industry-wide crash. Hell, I'm almost wanting it to happen at this point. Gaming as a hobby is never going anywhere, but these companies can get bent. We don't need Ubisoft, we don't need Bethesda, we don't need Nintendo, and we don't need Sony with the way that they're acting. Gaming will do just fine, and gamers will be better off if these companies just went tits up. But honestly, guys, I've ranted quite enough about it, so that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much to everybody who has watched up to this point. If you can, do me a solid and hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content that I've got coming up for you guys in the future, and also take to the comment section down below to let me know if you share my thoughts. I mean, honestly, am I overreacting here, or is this as insane to everyone else as it is to me? The level of bald-faced disrespect that I'm seeing is insane. It's got me absolutely floored. I'm convinced that you could slap my mother and I would be less offended by that than what I'm seeing here. At this point, Ubisoft are utter scumbags, and to tell you the truth, I've got a lot better games to play anyway. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, and until next time, love you guys, safe travels.